Well, Naledi, council has started, so the proceedings are well underway. But you know that earlier when we spoke, we were talking about, the uncertainty. We still have unconfirmed report as to who exactly will be the candidate for the multi-party coalition. Mr. Michael Beaumont from ActionSA is here, of course, to just confirm to us, put it on the record, who exactly are they planning to nominate, and really just speak to us about the other issues that have developed within ActionSA. Thank you so much for joining us. Just confirm to our viewers who will be the candidate for Speaker.
Certainly. So after lengthy negotiations within the multi-party coalition, all parties have agreed to support ActionSA's councillor Kolofelo Morodi. She is currently the chairperson of the MPAC committee, doing very important work in investigating wrongdoing in the city of Tshwane, and ultimately we believe she is the right blend of skills and youth that will bring stability to this council and oversight to the services in this municipality.
The multi-party coalition partners or group have faced a lot of challenges since the resignation of Randall Williams. Last week we obviously saw some of your members were subjected to liar detecting tests and so forth. Where are we now? Have you managed to mend your relationship to fix some of the challenges?
Certainly, it's an ongoing process, and there are investigations, some of which have been concluded, and we've already announced the first round of terminations, but also there are investigations that are ongoing. Ultimately, one of the reasons I am here is that I was meeting with our caucus this morning, and I was motivating them to do the right thing. And certainly when I see the caucus's response to Kolofelo Morodi's candidature, I believe they will get behind them and the coalition will succeed today.
How do you respond to those who are saying that Nkele Malapo is unfairly targeted and the evidence, or rather the issues tabled against her, are not realistic?
I would suggest that they haven't looked at the evidence. Nkele Malapo has been subject to an ongoing disciplinary matter for a number of weeks, even predating the events of the 28th of February. And those disciplinary matters involve very serious charges, including seeking information in the party and providing it to someone who is a competitor to ActionSA, who has used it to damage our reputation. Ultimately, there's no political party that constitution allows that kind of behavior, and ActionSA is no different. I think where we are different is that we act decisively to ensure that ActionSA councillors are protected from anyone in their caucus behaving like that.
What's the fate of Bongani Baloyi? What's the latest?
I think, if you don't mind, we communicated a statement in this issue yesterday where we confirmed the engagements of last week, but we've asked for the time as an organisation. The engagements are ongoing. You know, we're the first party to communicate when we have the opportunity to do so, but I think, to be fair to all parties concerned, we need to have a little bit of space to conclude those discussions.
How confident are you that Kolofelo will emerge victorious today? You know what's happening on the other side. You probably aware that some ActionSA members, some DA members who are part of the multi-party coalition are still unhappy, they're still disgruntled. How confident are you that this time around they're going to vote within the bounds of the multi-party coalition agreement?
I think let's make one thing clear. Any of the coalition councillors that voted for the COPE candidate in the previous election had nothing to do with their happiness or unhappiness. That was straight out vote buying. And this is emerging from our investigations, and we will expose this and we will ensure people go to jail. What I can tell you, though, is that with our engagements in the caucus, people are united behind our candidate. The coalition has worked together to identify these problems, and I think this is a display of unity in the coalition over the last couple of weeks.
All right, thank you so much there. Of course, Michael Beaumont from ActionSA. I'm also joined by Colleen Makwarela. She is the Speaker in the Johannesburg Council, also COPE member. You'd remember the issues around COPE linked to, of course, Dr. Murunwa Makwarela. COPE also having to fill the vacancy in council that is there following the resignation of Makwarela, of course, out of COPE. She's here to update us, just to tell us what are their plans to make sure that that vacancy is filled. You'd understand it does obviously play a big role in terms of how the voting will pan out in council today. Thank you so much, Mayor, for joining us. You obviously left on Friday. It was a lot of shame, a lot of anger following the Makwarela scandal. What has happened over the weekend? Has COPE identified a suitable, credible candidate to fill that vacancy?
Thank you so much, Precious, and greetings to all the listeners. Yes, Friday was very hectic. I think there was a lot of knee-jerk reaction, to what has happened, and emotional venting around it, which, to a certain degree, understandable. But what has happened is that we've had to go back, cool our heads down, and rationally think on how we're going to feel a candidate that can be suitable to stand as a mayoral candidate, because we're not just feeling an ordinary councillor. We are feeling a candidate that will take the mayoral chain of Tshwane and champion the service delivery in this region. And we have met, and there are CVs that the leadership is looking at right now that we have identified, and within the party structures we have actually consolidated on the names. It's just that we have also agreed with our partners, that this time around we'll also take them into confidence, because the person we are bringing in affects the collective now, is going to serve the collective, and it's important that they have a view and a say, on our options that we are putting on the table, so that they feel they're part of the process and understand the steps that we've taken to vet the background, and the steps that we've taken to ensure that the qualification, the experience, the merit of the person suits the profile. But I must once again emphasize to say, we've got serious code of conduct that we adhere to. However, you cannot predict the behavior of a person, and I think the collective has agreed to that, and all of them, even our partners, the different political parties, have agreed to say even their own vetting structures now are being reviewed and looked at, because collectively we are being enlightened, we are growing, we are now understanding other issues that perhaps we had not faced in the past. Like any organization, you face fraud, you update your policies, you update your vetting, because although Makwarela had disclosed, we didn't ask the right questions that we should have asked for rehabilitation certificate, this and that. That could have assisted us at the gateway before we get to this. So now we are tightening on those, and even other parties are now tightening their own processes, because we have collectively learned now.
Of course, it's clear you are no longer part of the multi-party coalition. You are now working with the EFF and the ANC, that group, or rather that coalition, although they don't want us to call them a coalition. But how do you react to criticism that you played a pivotal role in the whole mess around COPE? What happened in Johannesburg, what happened in Tshwane, some even saying that you advised Makwarela to obviously challenge the mayoral position and stand for mayor, and that went against the national leadership's decision that he should stay put as a speaker. How do you respond to the criticism that you were actually at the center of what happened with COPE and Makwarela?
I think first let's correct something. There is no mess within COPE in terms of Makwarela standing as a mayoral position. It was the national leadership that was here to congratulate Makwarela. So I don't know where this narrative of wanting to paint COPE as if it's a mess, they didn't want Makwarela to stand. No, Makwarela was given the green light to stand as a mayoral candidate. When he was appointed, it was our deputy president and our national spokesperson who were here first on the scene to have a press briefing to congratulate him and speak well of him. So we are not ashamed of the decision that we took to leave the multi-party coalition. We'll do it again if we have to, because it doesn't serve the interest of our voters, our residents and our members. What we are ashamed of and we have expressed is the behavior that Makwarela have expressed. And having advised him and guided him in the steps that he should take and how to negotiate, with his partners here, is something that I'm truly proud of, because we produced a mayor as COPE for the first time. And we are very, very proud of that. It shows that COPE is trusted, COPE has credibility. It shows that there was a lot of confidence placed on Congress of the People as a party by various parties, EFF, ANC, and many other minority parties that we work with. And they have again taken courage and shown that confidence to say, COPE, we are not going to take away that position from yourselves. We cannot allow one person to paint the whole party as a mess, as bad, except no, the behavior of one person is the conduct of one, and every party is going through that. Action SA has just fired a candidate. Bongani Balo is leaving Action SA. Are you going to say it's a mess in the Action SA? That's not the narrative. It's because individuals make different decisions at different points in their lives, and we can only hope that when they make the decisions, they consider the code of conduct, what they have signed up to, and what the impact of that decision is on the broader perspective and the collective. But we are very, very proud of COPE. We're intact. The leadership has been in support, so it's not true that there was a mess. In fact, we're celebrating as a party nationally on this victory.
Once you have filled your PR councillor vacancy, are you perhaps standing another chance to field that particular individual as a mayoral candidate? Is it possible?
Yeah, certainly we've been given that assurance. Of course, there are terms and conditions now. It has to be a candidate that has been properly vetted, number one. A candidate also that has merit, has the right qualification, has the right experience, and can carry out this mandate clearly. So that with the partners has been set and settled to say COPE has the mayoral position, provided we bring that candidate. And we'll be very excited to announce the candidate very soon. And so when they go in as the council in the next few days to vote in for a mayor, we'll be here, we'll be ready, we'll be holding our head high as Congress of the People.
Thank you so much there, Murunwa Makwarela. She is the speaker in the Johannesburg Council, and she's also here with the leadership to obviously make sure that they fill their vacancy that has been left open here in the Tshwane Council following the resignation of Dr. Murunwa Makwarela. But from here, it is really another political standoff in council between the two candidates that have been nominated to be the next speaker here in the capital city. Of course, you've heard from the ANC EFF side. It is Nzwanana who will be standing there as their preferred candidate, and he will be going up against Khulufelo Murudi from, of course, Action SA here. So that is where matters stand. We will see how exactly things pan out in council, who will emerge strongly. You would understand, of course, with the ANC EFF side, they already have two people less, with Nkele, of course, already been given a red card, and the Dr. Makwarela vacancy still not being filled. But it would be interesting to see exactly what happens. How are they going to play the political game this time around? For now, we toss it back to studio.